Hello Internet, and welcome back to the Mototopia channel. This is the 7th day of our Edelweiss Tour in June 2019. We have just completed the ascent of Stelvio mountain to the pass, and in this video we are leaving the pass and heading down Stelvio towards the town of Bornio. We're going to take the Umbrail Pass Road. So please sit back and enjoy the ride, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Okay, so before we ride down the mountain, let's take a look at where we are. We have just come up to Stelvio Pass from the right, from the Trafoi village. And now we're heading down the mountain, but before long we're going to come to a split where we can go right or left. We're going to go right and take the Umbrail Pass Road across the border back into Switzerland, and then down through the Mustair Valley. And then we're going to get to this T in the road, and we're going to go to the right and eventually back into Italy. And it is a fantastic ride. This is a beautiful valley and the roads are awesome. Alright, so we're at the summit of Stelvio Pass, and we've just finished up, I don't know, maybe an hour or so of souvenir shopping and checking out the place. You know, there are a few hotels, a few restaurants, and a number of these little shops here where you can buy any number of Stelvio t-shirts and hats and scarves, and a lot of cycling stuff, cycling shorts, cycling shirts, etc. And then we're just going to gather ourselves, the group, and make sure that we've got everybody before we leave. I think we had one straggler, and then we'll head off down the mountain and do our descent. The descent will be what they call the Bornio side. You can see the beginning starts off with quite a bit of snow left for late June. We had been here 8 days ago and battled some terrible weather. It was raining, and as we came higher up and got close to the summit, it turned to snow, and that became an all-out whiteout, a blizzard. You can check that out a little bit on our day one video. But for now, this is what the top of Stelvio looks like on a beautiful sunny day in June. Quite a few switchbacks on this side, and a little bit of traffic to get around. It does get a little more fun without somebody's bumper right in front of you. Remember that at Stelvio Pass we're just over 9,000 feet above sea level, which I think is 2,754 meters, I think, if I remember. So yeah, you got snow a lot of the year. The pass is really only open for a few months of the year. I think it opens in May and closes in October. It may not even open until June. But this side of the mountain, the turns are not, it's not that far between them, but they're still fun. Got a good descent. And what's nice at the top is there's no trees. On this part it's not as steep, so you can see what's coming around the bend when you get to a tight turn. You'll see a lot of this writing in the road as well. I think a lot of it is inspirational stuff for some of the cycling teams, and possibly even individuals that ride their bicycles up this slope. As you begin the descent on the Bornio side out of Stelvio Pass, the first set of buildings that you come to are called Casa Cantonera. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but you can find these buildings just like this, the one on the right, all over Italy. Usually they're red. They were built to house all of the equipment to maintain the state roads, and there was a watchman in charge of his canton, or about a 4 to 5 kilometer stretch of the road. But in some cases they were built on the border between two cantons and housed the families of the two road workers. But back in 1980, due to the excessive cost of localized maintenance, most of these houses were abandoned. On occasion, you'll find one that has been purchased privately and restored into a B&B. This one is not far away on Lake Como, and it does look pretty sweet. But that is why that building was there and why it was abandoned. This next cluster of buildings is the Umbrail custom booth at the Swiss border, and you can see just what a challenge it is to get into Switzerland. This one is a free entry on both sides, no problems at all.
I can't stay in no more. No, I can't run, I can't hide. I can't stay in no more. Oh no, 'cause when the devil's out to get you, you better pray and run slow. Walking home late at night, maybe 2:30. A little drunk, but I'm alright, 'cause I've been hanging with you, and it feels like love. Tell me if I'm wrong, 'cause it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time. You should let me know if you want this true. Baby, you just make me feel crazy. A little crazy for you. Hey. I think about you and I want you here with me. Am I out of my mind, or is this how it should be? You made me sing about love, so just tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Yeah. Don't know what you do, but you make me feel fine. And you can't deny we are not just killing time. You should let me know if you want this true. Baby, you just made me feel crazy. A little crazy for you. A little crazy for you. Hey. I'm a little crazy for you now. A little crazy for you now, baby. I'm a little.
So if anybody watching has some anxiety about going through these corners on their own Edelweiss Alps trip, check out how Lucas goes through them. His line is almost always perfect, and he really leans the bike over far into the corner, and he sits upright more on the bike, so he's using more of the sidewall of the tire and getting, a good amount of surface contact with the road, but also making it work to his advantage. Coming up on the right side of the road is the Gasthaus Alpenrose. The hotel and restaurant overlooks the Mustair Valley, and it's got some great views from the room. It's not far from the Swiss National Park. The hotel offers cozy and spacious terraces or balconies on each room where you can enjoy the view. The hotel is also well liked locally. It's run by a local family, which makes it stand out from some of the other hotels in the area. One of the guests I read a review on said that there's a personal touch, but what I took away from it when I looked them up on their Facebook page is that they offer raclette cheese, which is one of my favorite meals, certainly my favorite Swiss meal. It's a cheese that you melt and usually scrape it onto boiled potatoes, and it is outstanding. In fact, when I was a kid, my father ordered this special machine, a raclette machine we called it, from Europe, wired the house in 220 volt, and ordered these gigantic wheels of raclette cheese. And whenever he cooked it, it tasted so good, but it reeked. The smell is strong and offensive. And he discovered that whenever he started making raclette cheese, the neighborhood kids that were hanging out at the house would head for home. So that was Dad's little trick to get the house quiet when he wanted some peace. Getting back to the Hotel Alpenrose, everything in the hotel is homemade. The bread, the pasta, the jam, and they serve food all day long. Those pictures look so good, I really wish we had time to stop and enjoy some of their homemade food and hospitality. Check out the writing on the pavement around this next bend. The blue, white, and red represents the Dutch flag, and the names that you saw scribbled there were intended to motivate the national Dutch cycling team, which in the year 2014 was sponsored by Belkin. The Belkin cycling team from the Netherlands had two of their riders finish in the top 10 at the Tour de France that year, and the team finished second overall, which was a remarkable achievement coming from such a small country. So kudos to those guys, and it was kind of neat to see their names there. So I am not such a big cycling fan that I saw those names scribbled there and knew who they were. The clue was interesting. After this trip, my wife flew to Amsterdam, and I met her there for a few days, and we got to enjoy that city and some of the surrounding parts of Holland. And one of the things I became aware of is that the Dutch national soccer team has a cheer that's very common. It's Hup Holland Hup, H-U-P, and that was the first name or first word in that list of names. And it just means go Holland go, Hup Holland Hup. So that was the clue that was something significant there in the pavement. So kind of neat that somebody took the time to cheer those guys on to such remarkable success. Still amazing to me that anybody could ride a bicycle up and down these mountains, but people do. Absolutely incredible. So these hairpin curves just continue almost endlessly, just one after another, as I follow Kevin down this mountain. And eventually we do catch up to the tour guide, and of course get to the next town, which is Santa Maria. So along the Umbrail Pass Road is the town of Santa Maria, which is in the Mustair Valley. A few interesting points about Santa Maria. It's not a very large town, but 81% of the population here, their first language is the Romansh language. I mentioned that in the previous video, because the peak is called the Three Languages Peak up at Stelvio Pass. It's where three languages come together historically. And the Romansh language is not Romance, although it is a Romance language. It is a distinct language all of its own that is a descendant language of the ancient Latin that they spoke in Rome. It's got a few words lingering from the Celtic languages and Aratic language, and also quite a bit that's German from the local area. But it is the official national language of Switzerland. So that's pretty interesting. The town is also located in the Mustair Valley. Now, Mustair means monastery. So there are two big monasteries here in this valley, and one of them's in this town. So located in Santa Maria is the Abbey of St. John, which is important because it was built before the Charlemagne era and created this type of art called Carolingian art. It was basically funded by Charlemagne and his immediate heirs. So, a whole different type of art, and featured in that abbey. Now, also in the area is another abbey, which is more impressive in appearance. It's the Marienburg Abbey, Europe's highest abbey. It also dates back to the Charlemagne era, between 1149 or 1150. Since 1724, the abbey has been used primarily for educational purposes. Okay, so we're now back in Italy. The rest of our afternoon was just leisurely riding through northern Italian wine country. We passed a lot of vineyards. But that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You'll need to have a YouTube account to do that, but they're super easy to get your own account. All you need is an email doesn't cost anything, and it really helps out to grow the channel. So thanks very much. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and if you ever get a chance, ride the Stelvio Pass. And remember, be in love with your life, every minute of it. Thanks very much.